Hey everybody, this one is called No Probable Cause Equals False Arrest. First of all, I'm not a liar. Well, I meant a lawyer. Well, no, I meant a liar. You should never take my word for anything. You should always do your own research, and I provided references to aid you in your research, but I don't know everything, and I'm open to any ideas. There's four types of people you'll meet in your life. There's the people who try to wake up the slaves. There's the people who are the slave masters. There's the people who have no idea they're slaves. And there's the people who like being slaves. Which one are you? Do you really know for sure? Are you who you think you are? If you can see through the illusion, then you are the solution. Once you can see through the illusion, you will never be the same. If the people don't know their basic rights and freedoms, how can they know when or if their rights and freedoms are being infringed? Ain't that the truth? Never forget, the men who started this country were marijuana-growing, whiskey-drinking, tax-evading rebels who left their beds at night to shoot at the cops. All tyranny needs to gain a foothold is for people of good conscience to remain silent. Government is not reason, it is not eloquence, it is force. Like fire, it is a dangerous servant and a fearful master. Don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel. Don't forget to follow me on Steemit at Sovereignty International. Don't forget to like this video. On YouTube, don't forget to click the bell next to the subscribe button so that you're notified that there's a new upload. And on Steemit, don't forget to vote and make your comments. This is the front page of my channel. The subscribe button's already clicked because otherwise it would be red. The bell has not been clicked. The arrow's pointing at the bell because it would look like it's vibrating, which means that you'll be notified of uploads. First of all, when the police stop you, they cannot stop you unless they have probable cause that a crime has been committed or is about to be committed. Speeding is not a crime. So the question is, officer, what's your probable cause for stopping me, or should I just be on my way? Now, the test for probable cause is for the police officer's sufficient basis for probable cause. Did the officer have a suspicious basis to make a practical, common sense... Whoa, what happened there? Did the officer have a sufficient basis to make a practical, common sense decision that a fair probability of crime existed? Once the officer's actions fail to satisfy this test, it may appear that no reasonably objective officer could have believed that probable cause existed to make an arrest. And that is the Ninth Circuit, Allen versus City of Portland. And so that's the question. What constitutes probable cause? The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, citing cases from the U.S. Supreme Court, the 5th, 7th, 8th, and 9th Circuits, held that by definition, probable cause to arrest can only exist in relation to criminal conduct. Civil disputes cannot give rise to probable cause. So there's the question, isn't it? Is there a crime? And that's where you need to get to know your local state statutes and such things as to what the definition of a crime is. Article 1, Section 9, searches and seizures, the Texas Constitution. And you need to check your local constitution. I'll bet you it's very similar. The people shall be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and possessions from all unreasonable seizures and searches, and no warrant to search any place or to seize any person or thing shall issue without describing them as near as may be, nor without probable cause supported by oath or affirmation. Okay, so again, there has to be an affidavit of a crime, or the cop has to witness a crime. Okay, so what's a crime? The Fourth Amendment, Article 4, an amendment prohibits law enforcement officers from arresting citizens without probable cause. So again, it's an illegal seizure is what it is. and with no probable cause. And then again, the Texas Constitution does the same thing. Article 1, Section 9. Arrest made without probable cause violates the Fourth Amendment. Holding involuntary civil confinement is a massive curtailment of liberty and tantamount to the infringement of being arrested, and can be made only upon probable cause. Only upon probable cause of a crime. This is in Texas. An offense under this section is a Class C misdemeanor if the offense for which the actor's appearance is required is punishable by fine only. Okay, so a Class C misdemeanor in Texas is punishable by fine only. That's speeding tickets, going through a red light, going through a stop sign, traffic violations, simple traffic violations. Things like dangerous driving, if they want to charge you with something like that, I think that is not a Class C misdemeanor. It can get worse. So, but simple speeding tickets and those kinds of things are all Class C misdemeanors. An individual adjudged guilty of a Class C misdemeanor shall be punished by fine only, not to exceed $500. That's Texas Penal Code. A crime means a misdemeanor punishable by confinement or a felony. Okay, that's it. Nothing else answers the definition of a crime. A crime is only a misdemeanor punishable by jail or a felony. And a defendant means a person accused of a crime. So when they go and assault you with their ticket, and then you have to show up at their kangaroo court and they call you a defendant, okay? Well, gee, that's telling me that this case is prejudged. They're saying that you committed a crime, and there's no crime. So then it becomes down to official oppression, okay? And I'm not even sure if I have that in here, quite frankly. But under Texas, it's called official oppression, and that's a felony. If the owner of a motor vehicle fails to timely pay the amount of the civil penalty imposed against the owner, an arrest warrant may not be issued for the owner. The imposition of the civil penalty may not be recorded in the owner's driving record. They cannot report it to your insurance company. And that's Texas Transportation Code. They may not issue a warrant. Now, I gotta tell you that a friend of mine, catman1@gmail.com, he has done most of this research that I'm talking about here. Not all of it, but most of it. And so, if you're in Texas, I highly encourage you to get his material. It will help you immensely. He has used it. Matter of fact, that's why his email address is catman1, because he won. And he drives around Texas with his own homemade license plate, and yes, they harass him once in a while. He's actually a pretty nice guy, so he doesn't break it off in their butt like I try and do. And like I just filed a lawsuit against a city here, a couple cities actually, and we're going to talk about that more here. But yes, I did. It was about, with the attachments, was about 250 pages. Anyways, here's a kangaroo court. Look at that, a kangaroo court. Judge works for the state, a prosecutor works for the state, the police or witness works for the state. The vast majority of the disputes that the police initiate on behalf of their employer are also adjudicated by their employer, where the plaintiff, the judge, the antagonist, the police, and the only witness, also the pigs, all represent the same party, and since no corpus delicti, mens rea, or acts reus can be produced, doesn't technically qualify to be heard according to its own laws. The state, therefore, is indistinguishable from a criminal cartel. You got it. Oh, look at there. That's another kangaroo court. So what it is, if there's no crime and they stopped you, so again, if they stop me for speeding, that's going to be what's going to come out of my mouth. They're going to say, can I see your driver's license, registration, insurance? And I'm going to say, well, I don't have a problem producing whatever you want here, but, I got a question here. You got to have probable cause to stop me. And so the question I have is, what's your probable cause to be stopping me? What's the crime? And he's going to say, well, I got you speeding. And I'm going to say, well, speeding is a Class C misdemeanor in Texas, and a Class C misdemeanor is not a crime. And so I ask you again, what's your probable cause for stopping me, or should I just be on my way? That's where it's going to go. And I'm going to be researching other states as I travel to them. But so where you need to do is, if you want to protect yourself from this, then that's what you need to do, is do some research in your own state and find out what the definition of a crime is. And because this probable cause stuff is federal, it's all over the place. Everything's under martial law. Anyways, and although probable cause may not be inferred from malice, malice may be inferred from lack of probable cause. And so it's a malicious prosecution. So you go into their kangaroo court, and that's the first words out of your mouth. So we're doing a malicious prosecution here, are we? And I'll bet you they'll kick your butt out of there so fast your head will spin. Conviction of a Class E misdemeanor does not impose any legal disability or disadvantage. An offense under this section is a Class E misdemeanor if the offense for which the actor's appearance is required is punishable by fine only. And so again, that's under bail jumping and failure to appear. If it's a Class C misdemeanor, it's punishable by fine only. A public servant, oh, this is official oppression. I do have it in here. I went and did this video a week ago, and I've been trying to get it uploaded, but it fails all the time, and the sound was lousy. So I've been working on the sound, and I think I got it fixed now, but so I forgot what all was in here. Anyways, a public servant acting under color of his office or employment commits an offense if he intentionally subjects another to mistreatment or arrest, detention, search, seizure, dispossession, assessment, or lien that he knows is unlawful, intentionally denies or impedes another in the exercise or enjoyment of any right, privilege, power, or immunity, knowing his conduct is unlawful, or, for the purposes of this section, a public servant acts under color of his office or employment if he acts or purports to act in an official capacity or takes advantage of such actual or purported capacity. In other words, if they're military police in uniform, they're supposed to be in their official capacity. That's official oppression. That's why you say, well, that's not a crime, and so do you have some probable cause to be stopping me, or should I be on my way? Or are we doing some official oppression here today? This is a fake indictment that a friend of mine is actually in jail over. Again, it goes down to probable cause, because the indictments, all an indictment does is it says that there's probable cause. And so we have here a fake indictment. So this Betty whoever says, foreman of a grand jury, there's a friend of mine that says that they actually get court clerks. A court clerk actually admitted to him that, oh yeah, I sign those things all the time. Anyways, on top of that, they modified the indictment, which is illegal as well, okay? And it doesn't say it's a true bill. It's called a bill of indictment, folks. You need to understand that. It's a bill of indictment. If it doesn't say true bill, then it's not a true bill. It's not a true bill of indictment. It's a fake one. It must say it's a true bill. It's a bill of indictment. If it does not say it's a true bill, then it isn't a true bill of indictment. It must be signed by the county attorney. Look at that. This one isn't even signed by and this guy went to jail. He's still there. He's actually going to win on his appeal, but meanwhile, he's still there. He's probably going to get millions of them. Must be signed by a county attorney, must be signed by the grand jury foreperson, okay? So that one looks like some foreperson on a grand jury, but it's not signed by the county attorney. It's been modified. It's not an indictment. It's a fake indictment. Matter of fact, I'd like to find out if I'm going to encourage this guy once we get his butt out of there to find out who did this, because that's fraud. We can go after them and fix their wagon, get them some free room and board. Anyways, and we move on. Here's another fake indictment. This one is signed, the foreman of the grand jury is Richard Sapp. Well, yeah, he is a Sapp, all right. And the criminal district attorney, yeah, Joe Shannon Jr. was a criminal district attorney, but that's not a signature, that's a stamp. Somebody stamped that there, and it's interesting to note that he didn't run for re-election, and I wonder if it's related to this, quite frankly. This guy's in jail for attempted murder, and he's been in jail for 8 years, and I think we can get him out of there too. But again, another fake indictment. It doesn't say it's a true bill, which it means it's not a true bill. In Texas, they do this stuff. I am seeing this stuff all the time. So a malicious prosecution is fake indictments or Class C misdemeanors in Texas. Okay, so then they're all malicious prosecutions, but you still have to file a lawsuit with the bail priests. And that's what I did recently, is I filed one. And I really got belligerent in this one. I called them judicial whores. That's why it was so long, quite frankly. And that's one of the things I said in here. Is I said, if any of the bar member clerks masquerading as judges don't like the length of this thing, and you would like to see it smaller, well, you're the ones that make up the rules. That if I don't say it, that it's not said. And so therefore, if you have a problem with the length of this thing, take a look in the mirror. Anyways, yeah, don't get me going. So what I did is I went through and I explained how they're all bar members. Bar members are foreign agents of the Roman cult, and they're operating under the UN, and they're bought and paid for clerks masquerading as judges, and they're whores selling their just us. And I even said it like there's probably about 50 times that I say the bought and paid for clerk masquerading as a judge, Roman cult bar member / whore selling their just us, and then I make a statement. I probably put it in there about 50 times. Anyways, I can't believe it. They were real nice to me. And I told them, I'm not following your rules. I'm not affecting service. If you want to affect service, knock yourself out. You got a whole bunch of U.S. Marshals down there. You can affect service. And and I told them that I'm not following your rules. I'm not taking your orders. And they're really nice. Matter of fact, what they did was usually, I'll tell you, I've done this enough times. Usually they they dismiss it and they get nasty and all the rest of the stuff, and they're going to move it to a different federal court. I filed it in Dallas. They accepted it, no filing fee, didn't even ask for a filing fee. And then they went and they gave it a case number, and then they went and sent it to, they're going to move it over to Fort Worth, because the city that I'm suing and the two cities actually are both in the Fort Worth district or region. And so whatever, I don't care what they do. I said basically, I'm not following your rules, I'm not taking your orders, but and I called it a war crimes complaint. And under the Geneva Convention, you cannot make any rules or regulations that deny me a remedy, so I'm not following your rules. Okay? And under the Geneva Convention, we're going to cover that in here. Under the Geneva Convention, you might be able to get your low intelligence thugs off the hook, but your criminal corporation's still responsible, so you can mail a check here. Anyway, so we'll see what happens. This is going to be and if it works, then I'm just going to use it as a template, and I got a whole bunch more I'm going to do. Anyways, so appeals courts look for things in the record, appealable issues. Okay, and if you have a liar and they fail to object, the appealable issue will not be on the record. You consented to it. And that's the nice thing about bringing up the issue of war crimes, because they may not be given up. Now, in the case of, let's go back to this one. Okay, this one, his appeals are exhausted. Okay, but again, the war crimes under the Geneva Convention, the rights in the Geneva Convention may not be given up. His liars didn't object to the stuff that was going on. Okay, and so he's basically screwed, or was, unless we bring up these issues of war crimes, and I think that we can get it. There's a bunch of stuff that's on the record that I think that we can make a change. But even there's stuff on that's not on the record that we have evidence of. Like for example, in this case, they actually, the cops got the lawyer and stopped him, and they stuck a shotgun in his mouth, and didn't say anything. Just stuck a shotgun in his mouth, and it didn't have any ammo in it. Pulled the trigger, and then they let him go. And that's basically telling him, you know, and he never objected to one thing that went on in that trial, or that show trial. That's the kind of stuff that goes on sometimes. And then there's, there's this one. You know, again, a fake indictment. They didn't object to the fake indictment, and so they can't bring that up. But he's going to win on another issue. So theoretically, I guess his liars have it, and so we'll see. You know, anyways, they expect that he'll be out, you know, this summer sometime. Which, you know, we're in July now. So, anyways, don't get me going. You're gonna get me going. War crimes may not be given up. So you have to go through the transcript looking for denials of due process, war crimes. Look for anything in the sovereign citizen quick reference, because it's evidence of reprisals for your political beliefs. It's a war crime. Modified indictments, denials of due process. Was the jury government employees? That's a denial of due process. It's a war crime. And there's a sovereign citizen quick reference guide. A copy of this is available on my Yahoo group. You can get it yourself. And it goes through and talks about this sovereign citizen. It's published by the Joint Terrorism Task Force and the Joint Terrorism Task Force Military Police and the Department of Justice Federal Bureau of Investigation Military Police. And so anytime they bring this stuff up, then you can bring up the issue of war crimes. The term federal personnel means officers and employees of the government of the United States, members of the uniformed services, including the reserve components, and individuals entitled to receive immediate or deferred retirement benefits under any retirement program of the government of the United States, including survivor benefits. That means anybody with a Social Security number, folks, is federal personnel. And so, again, did you have government employees on your jury? Because there's court cases that talk about that government employees are not qualified to sit on a jury. Martial law, this is Liber 10, Article 10, Liber Code. Martial law affects chiefly the police and the collection of public revenue and taxes, whether imposed by the expelled government or by the invader, and refers mainly to the support and efficiency of the army, its safety, and the safety of its operations. So that's why they want to make sure you're safe. Hey, remember, be safe, get your seatbelts done up, be safe. All police are military police. There's the FBI military police, there's the city military police, there's the state military police, the Homeland Security military police, the county military police. All police are military police, and if they're talking to you, then you are a subject and you are the enemy. There's the real domestic terrorists. You are the enemy, folks. The sooner you wake up to that, the better. They've murdered hundreds, okay? They murder people on a routine basis. This is just one demonstration that went on in Chicago. They murder people all the time. We talked it over, and after investigating it ourselves, we decided we're not guilty. Yeah, how convenient. You are the enemy, folks. The tyrant, who in order to hold his power suppresses every superiority, does away with good men, forbids education and light, controls every movement of the citizens, and keeping them under perpetual servitude, wants them to grow accustomed to baseness and cowardice, has his spies everywhere to listen to what is said in the meetings, and spreads dissension and calumny among the citizens, and impoverishes them, is obliged to make war in order to keep his subjects occupied and impose upon them a permanent need of a chief. You know, the founding fathers must have, I'm sure they knew about this, and that's why they called King George a tyrant. Okay, this is coming from Aristotle. Okay, and so it's not like this is anything new. Matter of fact, Obama was a textbook tyrant. Okay, Obama was definitely a textbook tyrant. I believe that Trump is trying to put a stop to all of this stuff, and so I would say he's not a tyrant, but he's certainly surrounded by people that want to impose a tyranny, no doubt about it. And so I'm writing a book actually, and I'm hoping to have it out in 6 months or so. But I've actually got most of it done. I have some people looking at the manuscript right now, and so we'll see what happens. Under international law of warfare, all parties to a cause must appear by nom de guerre because an alien enemy cannot maintain an action during the war in his own name. Okay, again, law of warfare is under international law. A mixed war is one which is made on one side by public authority and the other by mere private persons. Okay, it's all warfare, folks. The sooner you figure that out, the better. I've got exclusive content available on my website. I have 2 subscription levels and I accept cryptocurrencies. My basic subscription level is $29.99 a year for the videos only, $49.99 a year for the videos plus unlimited consultations. Now, I'm not a liar. Well, I meant an attorney. Well, no, actually, I meant a liar. I mean, they all lie. How can you tell they're lying? Well, their lips are moving. But I can tell you what I would do and where to find the forms. The only power that the New World Order Satanists have over us is through fraud and deception, and my agenda is to expose it for all our benefit, but I cannot fight all the battles. I'm currently publishing 1 video a month, and if you want to subscribe just as a donation, it's a modest donation, there's no doubt about it, but every little bit helps. So, and I need people being on point and challenging, bringing up the right issues. Some of my exclusive content is Arlington Private Information Share. I've got a couple videos on land deed training, actually 2 or 3. Arlington Private Information Share is 9 videos. I got estoppel certificates training, foreclosure estoppel certificates training, corporate denial training, toll roads notice and demand training, invoice training, notice of void judgment training, revocation of signature training, third-party witness training, federal habeas corpus training, revocation of voter registration, criminal complaint training. I've got 2 or 3 of those, and there's probably going to be more. I got lawsuit training I'm going to put up, but that's I want to wait and see what happens with this one, and might have to redo that or change what I'm going to put up there. And I've also got other training depending on requests. Okay, people have requested things from time to time, but stuff they request is usually already up, or it's not something that's conducive to what we're doing. Anyways, I've got a bunch of videos from the Northeast Private Information Share, and so I'm going to be uploading more videos on a pretty regular basis too. At least from the Northeast, I'm going to do the Northeast Private Information Share videos are going to be put up there because that way I keep fresh stuff up there all the time for people that want to subscribe and check that stuff out. Anyways, all forms, files, and other instructions are available for free in my 2 private groups at Yahoo Groups and Google Groups, and all exclusive content will be available on my website, and you can buy a subscription there. War is terrorism on a bigger budget. Democracy, fake laws, false arrest, feel free. My contact information, my blog is sovereigntyinternational.wordpress.com. My website is sovereigntyinternational.fyi. My email address is engineerwin@yahoo.com. My YouTube profile is Sovereign Living. My Facebook community page, I deleted it due to censorship on the part of Facebook. My private group at Sovereignty International is being deleted. My Yahoo private group is called Administrating Your Public Servants. My Google private group is called Administrating Your Public Servants. Follow me on Twitter at EngineerWin. Follow me on Steemit at Sovereignty International, and I've got a BitChute profile, but they don't allow me to upload large files. Some of my videos are like over a gig, and they won't let anything out bigger than a half a gig, and so that limits me. Anyways, I haven't been on Facebook forever. I don't even interested in going there. I mean, that's all just nothing but a bunch of garbage. I've got some friends of mine that are managing those groups there, and I just let them take the ball and run with it. Facebook is just a has-been, so I don't even go there. This is Article 8 of the Geneva Convention relative to the treatment of the civilians in a time of war of 1949. Protected persons may in no circumstances renounce in part or entirety the rights secured to them by the present convention. So that's the nice thing about the war crimes, is that you cannot give up your rights. And the party to the conflict in whose hands protected persons may be is responsible for the treatment accorded to them by its agents, irrespective of any individual responsibility which may be incurred. So, basically, the corporation's responsible. So I tell them, I cannot give up these rights, and you're responsible anyway, so you can mail a check here. And that's Article 29 of the Geneva Convention. Terrorism is a system of government that seeks to rule by intimidation. Can you spot the terrorists? I can see a whole bunch of them there. Noun, the use of violence and intimidation in the pursuit of political aims. So, when these war crimes, you got to build a case, okay? Because you're going to have to file a lawsuit. You're going to get information to build a case, and you got to file a lawsuit, and you got to put it down in writing for the clerks masquerading as judges, because if you don't say it, then it's not said. Remember what they did with Hillary Clinton, right? They were investigating her for I don't know, it was federal where she was negligent about keeping her classified information, and they said, well, it was extremely careless, but it wasn't, negligent, and so they just changed the words. You got to use their words. If you don't use their words, the bail priests will sit there and play stupid, and you won't get a remedy. Okay, you got to use their words. Get a police report. Get copies of any videos. Get any notes. It's amazing what kind of evidence they'll give you against them. All of the statutory citations are provided from Catman's material. Catman has done a huge amount of research, and I highly recommend that everybody in Texas should have his book. His email address is catman1@gmail.com. The worker is worthy of his hire. What he does is it can be kind of expensive. He tries to sell you these packages, and so it can cost a few bucks, but it's not overly expensive, quite frankly, and the worker is worthy of his hire, and it's amazing stuff, I'll tell you. So I highly recommend everybody in Texas should have his material, and other states it's useful. He uses a lot of Texas not court citations, but statutory citations. But so it'll give you an idea on what to look in other states. If you're in another state, you can see how they did it in Texas, and so you look for something similar in your state. Anyways, this is a copy of this is the Colleyville pigs. That's the ones I sued, actually. And so that's a copy of the request for records under the Public Information Act. All war crimes, you got to build a case. All reports, all videos, all offense reports, you got to list it all, because, again, they're playing stupid. And if you don't ask for it, you won't get it. And so all reports, all videos, all offense reports, all incident reports, all narratives, all call logs, all arrest reports, all photos, all criminal complaints, all bonds and oath of office for all of the officers involved. And so check out my other videos: Bankster Thieves Playlist, Rowan Cult Playlist, Bankrupt Corporate So-Called Governments, Bar Members 1 through 4, Do-It-Yourself How Not to Volunteer for the Selective Service in the Draft, Martial Laws Here, Do-It-Yourself No Income Tax, Do-It-Yourself Free Mail, Do-It-Yourself Kangaroo Courts 1 through 15, the Canada Border Pigs Playlist, and Bar Members and their Satanic Connections Playlist. Okay, so this is Article 1 of the Geneva Convention relative to the protection of 71. No probable cause equals no crime. No sentence shall be pronounced by the competent courts of the occupying power except after a regular trial. And they have to be competent courts, okay? So if they're not properly convened, then they're not competent, okay? It's a fundamental right of a party to have a neutral and detached judge preside over judicial proceedings, okay? If they're bought and paid for, which they're always bought and paid for. So, again, so they're not competent, right? Has to be a regular trial, which means due process. Warning, this is the standing army you're told not to tolerate. Order followers, the servants of evil. You assist an evil system most effectively by obeying its orders and decrees. An evil system never deserves such allegiance. Allegiance to it means partaking of the evil. A good person will resist an evil system with his or her whole soul. Well said, Mahatma Gandhi. Well said. Order followers are the ones that keep the system of slavery in place. You got that right. There's a bunch of them right there. War is when your government tells you who the enemy is. Revolution is when you figure it out for yourself. When liberty and freedom are at stake, your silence isn't golden, it's yellow. Change will not come if we wait for some other person or some other time. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the change that we seek. So, again, I thought I changed that. That should be Patrick Henry. Give me liberty or give me death. And that was a statement by Patrick Henry, not Samuel Adams. I must have changed it in another video, I guess. After witnessing a man flogged to death for refusing to take a license. They're assaulting people with their Roman cult Sestake trust. And this is Chisholm versus Georgia, which was shortly after, like 1794, which is shortly after the War of Independence. Anyways, in doing this, I shall have occasion incidentally to evince how true it is that states and governments were made for man, and at the same time how true it is that his creatures and servants have first deceived, next vilified, and at last oppressed their master and maker. A state like a merchant makes a contract. A dishonest state like a dishonest merchant woefully refuses to discharge it. And that's exactly what's going on these days, folks. It's the same stuff coming around again. Government is not reason, it is not eloquence, it is force. Like fire, it is a dangerous servant and a fearful master. It's not reasonable, it's not eloquence, it is force. Okay? They are idiots. Okay? They are order followers. They're just doing what they're told. And it doesn't have to be logical. It's just force. That's all it is. This is Texas Transportation Code. Failure to pay a civil penalty. If the owner of a motor vehicle fails to timely pay the amount of civil penalty imposed against the owner, an arrest warrant may not be issued for the owner. Okay? So this is, again, on a Class C misdemeanor. Imposition of the civil penalty may not be recorded in the owner's driving record. This is for a Class C misdemeanor. And so, again, no probable cause, no crime. An offense under this section is a Class C misdemeanor if the offense for which the actor's appearance is required is punishable by fine only. Okay, that's Texas Penal Code, bail jumping and failure to appear. Texas Penal Code 12.03, classification of misdemeanor. Conviction of a Class C misdemeanor does not impose any legal disability or disadvantage. Texas Penal Code 1223, misdemeanors. An individual judged guilty of a Class C misdemeanor shall be punished by fine only, not to exceed $500. So again, it's a Class C misdemeanor. A county attorney will represent the state in all cases. That's the Texas Constitution. An offense under this section is a Class C misdemeanor if the offense for which the actor's appearance is required is punishable by fine only. That's, again, bail jumping or failure to appear. So check out catman1@gmail.com. He has common law identification cards that are very well put together, let me tell you. And he's done a whole bunch of research on this, and every word on those things is carefully constructed. And he's got a book, I should say, with the research in this video and more. A crime. Again, it comes down to what the definition of a crime is. A crime is a misdemeanor punishable by jail. If it's by a fine only, then it's not a crime. Class C misdemeanor is not a crime. Or a felony. A crime is a misdemeanor punishable by jail or a felony. A defendant means a person accused of a crime. So you go down to their kangaroo court and they're calling you a defendant. They're saying you committed a crime, and yet it's not a crime. It's a Class C misdemeanor. And so, again, that's official oppression is what it is. They're engaging in official oppression. A municipal court, and including a municipal court of record, shall have exclusive original jurisdiction within the territorial limits of the municipality in all criminal cases. So if it's not a crime, they don't have jurisdiction. And territorial limits, okay? So that's territory, that's federal, okay? Texas Code of Criminal Procedure, jurisdiction of municipal court. A defendant equals crime equals jail or felony. So if there's no crime, you're not a defendant. So are we doing some official oppression here there, judge or clerk masquerading? You must be the clerk masquerading as a judge. Are we doing some official oppression here today? This is Texas Government Code 29003, jurisdiction and authority of the municipal and justice of the peace courts. A municipal court, including a municipal court of record, shall have exclusive original jurisdiction within the municipality's territorial limits in all criminal cases. If it's not a crime, then it's not a criminal case. And again, it says it several times throughout there. And in paragraph C, an offense which is punishable by fine only is defined as an offense which is punishable by fine and such sanctions, if any, as authorized by statute, not consisting of confinement in jail or imprisonment. So they cannot put you in jail over a Class C misdemeanor. All statutes, all codes, all regulations, all constitutions, all constitutional amendments, all rules, all court rules, all fees are edicts under martial law. The only thing the plaintiff needs to do is allege false arrests. Is either one, that the defendant made an arrest or imprisonment, or that the defendant affirmatively instigated, encouraged, or incited, or caused the arrest or imprisonment. So all you got to do is say that they made the arrest. Matter of fact, when you get a police report, you got proof that they did it. As in the case of a legal arrest, the officer must keep within the law at his peril. When the plaintiff has shown that he was arrested, imprisoned, or restrained of his liberty by the defendant, the law presumes it to be unlawful. The burden is upon the defendant to show that the arrest was made by authority of law. Any arrest made without proper warrant, signed by a judge, and backed up by an affidavit from two persons that states under penalty of perjury you have broken a contract or hurt somebody, if challenged by the defendant, is presumably invalid, presumptively invalid. The burden is upon the state to justify it as authorized by statute and does not violate the constitutional provisions and or human rights. So any arrest, it's got to be signed by a judge, have an affidavit from two people. Otherwise, it's presumptively invalid. Although probable cause may not be inferred from malice, malice may be inferred from lack of probable cause. It's a malicious prosecution. Remember, it is false arrest. No crime equals false arrest. And you have no business being in their so-called court. And because it brings into action and enforces this great and glorious principle that the people are the sovereign of this country, and consequently that fellow citizens and joint sovereigns cannot be degraded by appearing with each other in their own courts to have their controversies determined. That Chisholm versus Georgia is such an excellent, they've got some great stuff in there, I'm telling you. And so again, you have no business being in their so-called court. Okay, it's all a charade. They are nothing but pirates and thieves. They're actually, what they are is privateers. And that's what I'm putting in my book. They're privateers. It's a textbook definition of a privateer. And privateers were outlawed. Anyways, so no probable cause equals false arrest, okay? If it's in Texas, if it's a Class C misdemeanor, they don't have probable cause. If it's a fake indictment, they don't have probable cause. It's false arrest, okay? That's where you need to go with it. It's official oppression. That's where you need to go with it. Anyways, thanks for watching. Have a great day.